Hello, this is Shambhavi. Welcome to Satsang. Satsang is an ancient spiritual practice from India. It means being in reality together. I give Satsang live every Wednesday and Sunday night in Portland, Maine. This Dharma talk was recorded during one of our Wednesday night gatherings. Please visit jayakula.org to learn more about the teachings. You can find video satsangs on Jayakula's YouTube channel, and my books are all available on Amazon.com. Much love to you, wherever and however you are. So I want to talk tonight about karma. Yay! Karma is very simple to understand. It is patterns of awareness and energy moving through time and those patterns repeat themselves. Energy is energy. And if you've studied high school physics or something, you know that energy can gain momentum in time. So these patterns, as they are repeated, through the repetition, energy is being given to those patterns. They gain energy and they gain momentum moving through time. So they become, after a while, if they get repeated enough, they become habit patterns. So not just something that happens, but something that is difficult to stop from happening. So right now you are showing up in a human body. That is a karmic habit pattern. It's very difficult to break that karmic habit pattern. And it suddenly appears as something else. Or maybe you have a karmic habit pattern of drinking caffeinated beverages every day. That's difficult to break also. So the reason these patterns are difficult to break is because they have momentum. And in order to change those patterns, one of two things has to happen. Either you have to apply effort in a different direction and stop giving energy to those patterns and apply it in another direction so that the momentum shifts, or something almost magical has to happen, which is called grace, where something just unwinds for unknown reasons, even though you didn't seem to be applying any effort. That happens every once in a while too. Rarely. Yeah, rarely, but it does happen. In our culture, and in among my students too, when we talk about my karmas or our karmas, we tend to think of something that's internal and rather psychologistic. I have a karma of feeling this way or acting this way or something else. But the fact is that everything that is happening, with some exceptions, but almost everything that is happening in your life is part of your karmic habit pattern, or you could say your karmic circumstance. The people that you meet, the situations that you get into, the work that you do, that person who's annoying you, are all aspects of your karmic habit patterns. You can compare this to a dream. So in a dream, you know that it's your mind, your awareness, and your energy that's producing those dreams. Your awareness and your energy may appear in a dream to be a different person. You may be dreaming that you're at a party with dozens of different people. But all of those people, hey, getting bigger by the day. And slower. But all of those beings and the structures and the circumstances that are in your dream are all aspects of your own karmic energy. And it's exactly the same in your everyday life. The import of this is that we are usually going around aware of some habit patterns that we have, and we think of those as internal. And then if somebody does something or some circumstance arises that we don't like, or some person bothers us, then we attribute that to the other guy. You know, we say, oh, I don't like what so-and-so did or what so-and-so said. Or I'm really upset because no matter what I do, I can't seem to make this thing happen that I want to happen, like in my job or my housing circumstance. Or I keep trying, but nothing's working. Or something really messed up today, and you're really mad about it, you know. But when you really understand karma, you understand that all those things that are happening are aspects of your karma. They're happening because you're living in time. And you are a huge constellation of cause and effect, an infinite event, as one of my teachers used to like to say. And you don't end at your skin, and everything that belongs to you is not inside of you. Right? So you are like if you want to think of each of you as a center of a huge mandala of cause and effect, and within that mandala are all the people that you know and all the circumstances that are happening to you. So if you keep running into a pattern in your life, you know, many of us have patterns. We keep getting into situations where we feel other people aren't appreciating us, or we keep getting into circumstances where we feel we're always taking care of other people, or we keep getting into circumstances where we're always playing a certain role, and we have to understand that all the people that are showing up and participating in that are part of that circumstance, of our circumstance. So there really is never any reason other than karmic conditioning to be angry at someone for how they are and how they're relating to us, to be upset because some circumstance arose that we don't like, to be blaming anything on anyone or any circumstance, because there is no blame to go around. There really is no blame to go around. Everything that's arising is a part of our circumstance, and it's what we have to work with. So if we're in circumstances with people that we find difficult, that is our material that we are working with to resolve our karma, not to fix somebody else, to resolve our own karma. And then, of course, there's always grace. There's different kinds of dreams. So most dreams are quite ordinary, and just karmic stuff is happening just like it does during the day when we're presumably awake. And then occasionally we have a different kind of a dream. Those are called true dreams, where something extraordinary is relayed to us, or something happens very much outside of our normal shtick. So those dreams come from bigger wisdom. They come from outside of karma, because karma is not all there is. Karma means literally activity. In Sanskrit, it's a Sanskrit word, it means activity. But it specifically means bound activity or constrained activity or conditioned activity. Right? Some people say, you know, that there's good and bad karma. All karma is limited. Some karmas, some habitual patterns that we establish help us, that's true. Like the habit pattern of eating in the right way for our constitution, or the habit pattern of doing spiritual practice every day, doing some kind of meditation or mantra or something like that. Those are new patterns, what are called samskaras, that can eventually help us to become less conditioned. So we have some patterns that help us become more conditioned, and other patterns that help us to become less conditioned. The ones that help us to become less conditioned are not successes or good things happening to us. So when people say good and bad karma, you know, they get what they want, they call that good karma. They don't get what they want, they call that bad karma. That's ridiculous from a real perspective of a tradition like this. We could get what we want, and it could be the worst possible thing for us. Because what you want is usually very limited. What is really good is when we establish new habit patterns that are in line with our basic human nature and help us to discover our innate goodness and perfection. Those are patterns that we want to try to establish. But all other karmas they're equally as limited. So there's not really any good and bad karma, like being successful is good and not being successful is bad. What we should understand is that in each and every circumstance, something is being shown to us about our own conditioning. And we are being given an assignment, what we have to work with. If we keep experiencing the same emotions over and over again in the context of our life with other people, the problem isn't other people. There are no other people. Whoa. Plain and simple.
What am I doing here?
I don't know. Would you like a Ricola? Help ground you?
Yeah.
It's the best I could do in the circumstance. If we get, as practitioners, if we get all caught up in, other people this and other people that, we have totally fallen out of view. We're totally not in line with how reality actually is. Of course, we relate to others as others on some level, but on another level, we have to remember the bigger view, which is that all of these circumstances are arising from one consciousness and energy, and there are no others, and there are no separate beings. And everything that's arising is an expression of that consciousness and energy, and there is, on our level, cause and effect. And everything that's arising in our lives is a product of that. And so while we're still in dualistic vision, while we're still experiencing separation and loneliness and upsetness about everything, until we realize there's actually no karma either, bada boom. Until we have that realization, we're still dealing with it. And the intelligent and compassionate way to deal with it, and the way that expresses nonviolence towards yourself and other people, ahimsa, the intelligent, nonviolent way to deal with everything that's arising is to see it all as something that's being communicated to you about your circumstance that you can work with using your body, your energy, and your mind, using your intelligence, your heart, and the practices that you've been given, meditation or whatever practices you do, right? So when circumstances arise that are difficult, you are looking into that circumstance for what is being communicated to me. How can I self-reflect in the midst of this circumstance? If your iPhone camera is always turned around the other way at other people, you're never going to get it. You're always going to be in the domain of suffering, separation, and loneliness. But if you turn that camera around and look at everybody as brilliant, divine communicators, helping you to understand your circumstance and work with it, then you're on the right track. Whenever you find yourself starting a sentence like, if only they would, if only he would, if only she would, I don't understand why it has to be this way. It shouldn't be this way. You're totally off base. We may talk that way casually, of course. We don't have to police our language. But we have to keep the view in mind. We have to keep our experience in mind that we are being communicated to. Our own circumstances communicating to us with profound wisdom. And we should try our best to understand what is being communicated to us so that we can work with that and relax and not waste any time being combative with our circumstance. Because being combative with our circumstance is just like an absolute futile effort. There's many things one could be unhappy about with one circumstance. I mean, human beings are 62% unhappiness at least, yeah, if not more. There's just sort of a mild panic most of the time about your own existence. Showing up in different ways. As long as we stay in that realm of thinking, well, I'm dealing with my karma in me, and everyone else is just screwing up. These circumstances that are arising that I don't like, I have a right to be deeply unhappy about them, and I have a right to be deeply angry about them, and I have a right to be really on my high horse about this, that, and the other thing. But all that other stuff is outside of you is also, it's exactly the same as what's happening inside of you. It's just like in a dream. So you have to look into circumstance and try to discern the messages that are there for you. What am I working with? What is wisdom? What is the primordial wisdom of life? Where is it leading me? Where is it showing me where my next footstep should be? One of the things, much to my own surprise, that I've been being schooled in is patience. It requires incredible patience to be a human being on a path of self-realization. I didn't know that when I started. I might have not started if I knew that. As I go along, things that I would have just poo-pooed years ago, like patience and modesty and all that, I would have been like, I thought Tantra was about let's rock and roll here. Let's do the intense thing. That's what I was all about back in the day. And now I know a lot of it's about patience. And so things happen in order to help me to cultivate patience. And they happen through the grace of circumstance. It's not just something that's happening internally, right? I have to be very, very patient, basically waiting for everyone to wake up. Right? Not only do I have to be patient about my own self-realization, but I have to be patient about all of yours too. So that's just one circumstance, but there's many, many circumstances in which how things are happening, how people are being, circumstances that are arising that call for tremendous patience. When I want to rush forward and do, because that's part of my constitution. And so I'm not looking at those circumstances as, fucking, I could. It would be pretty easy to go there. I'm now, though, able to feel the grace in those situations, feel the guru in those situations, feel that I am really being held and nourished in those situations where I have to exercise a lot of patience. That it's hard. But it's the only way, right? The only way to relate to circumstance and other people is as wisdom talking directly to you about you, right? And what you need to do in order to become more free and spontaneous and have more clarity and be more awake. What you have to let drop, what you have to cultivate, things like patience and modesty. So try to have that orientation to everything that's happening. What is being asked of me? That's the best question you can have in any circumstance, especially the ones that you don't like. What is being asked of me? What virtue am I being asked to cultivate here? What kind of self-reflection is being asked of me? Instead of the sort of me and them thing, right, where you have to be defensive or aggressive, or you have to try to change the external circumstance to make it more comfortable for you. Ask yourself, what virtue am I being asked to bring out of myself more? Jayakula is a nonprofit community offering opportunities to learn and practice in the direct realization traditions of Trika Shaivism and Dzogchen. We are based in Portland, Maine and Portland, Oregon. Visit jayakula.org to explore more of our offerings.